Hello, and welcome back to the Travel Becomes Me channel. In today's video, we're going to talk all about my recent trip to California wine country, in particular, Sonoma Valley. But first, if this is your first time tuning into one of our videos, I'm Kira. I'm a lawyer, an author, but most importantly, and probably the reason why you're here, is that I'm a luxury travel enthusiast and educator that's been to over 60 countries and overseas territories using the strategies and tools that I found have been helpful in traveling luxury lives. So, let's get into today's topic. So I had the pleasure of going to California a couple weeks ago for my cousin's wedding in Sonoma. And I took the opportunity to also go on a wine tour. So I wanted to share with you today the fabulous wineries that I went to and the types of things that you might be able to see when you go there. So first, we stayed at Timber Cove, which is about 2 hours outside of San Francisco. It's beautiful. It's pretty remote. There's not very much around, and things tend to shut down kind of early, which I'm not used to as a New Yorker. But it's very peaceful. It's right on the water. You can see the ocean. It's cliffside. So I highly recommend, even if you just go there for lunch or dinner, to visit if you happen to be in the area. Okay, so let's get into these wineries. So the first place we visited was Cuvaison. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Cuvaison Estate. My French is not spectacular. And it was a lovely spot. It was probably amongst the larger wineries that we visited, with several hundred acres of property. And it came with 5 pairings and a welcome drink. So I am not a heavy drinker. And so we sat down, we got the welcome drink. I love champagne. The welcome drink was champagne. And we had lovely pairings, which it was the morning, so we hadn't quite eaten breakfast. So the pairing became breakfast as opposed to a pairing. But that's an entirely different story. So about maybe after the second wine, it occurred to me that, wait a second, there are 3 more empty glasses on the table. And we have 2 additional wineries to go to. I'm going to have to take it slow. Nonetheless, out of all of the wineries that we visited that day, they had my favorite wine. There was another one that had my favorite champagne, but they had my favorite wine. So that brings me to the second place on our stop, which is a lovely place called Domaine. And I didn't love the wine there so much, but the property was very special because it had this fantastic art. So it's owned by somebody very wealthy from overseas who decided to purchase the winery because he fell in love with the property, and then subsequently use it kind of like an art gallery. So there's these huge pieces erected all over the property, such as the Zodiac Heads by Chinese artist Ai Weiwei, or the Pumpkin, or Crouching Spider, or Hombre Caminante, and Love Me. So if you're into art or photography at all, it's a fabulous place to go. You can see some really great art in the foothills of a winery and enjoy a lovely tasting at the same time. So that's definitely a location that I would likely go back to if I'm visiting Napa or Sonoma again. So the last place on the wine tour was Shundam. And if you don't know, Shundam is the California branch of Moet Shundam. As a matter of fact, Moet was the first French-owned company to open up a sparkling champagne branch in the U.S. So they were a pioneer in that regard. And as I mentioned before, I love champagne. And the tasting there is bottomless. So you basically cannot make it through a glass before somebody coming along and pouring and to top up your glass. I had to be cautious because at that point, we were working on our 12th to 15th glass of wine / sparkling wine. So that was it. That was the wine tour. Have you been to any wineries in Sonoma or Napa that you loved? I would love to hear about it. You just let me know down in the comments. And if you have any questions, as always, let me know down below. We will talk to you in the next video.